Hi, my name's Maria.
And my name's Scout.
And welcome to another episode of We're Just Doing Our Best.
Because that's just what we're doing. Yeah. It's October 1st. Very exciting. It's been like a month since we started doing this. Has it felt like a month to you?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. We do one
It's
every
like our
week.
1 month anniversary.
Oh my God. Are you
No.
going to take me to dinner?
Of course. Of course. Except you have been cheating on me. We've been having new guests.
I know. I'm
so
sorry.
That's okay.
We need to do a 3-person one next
No, I
time. I
know.
feel like that one would be really fun.
Put it in the budget.
Put it in the budget. Add a chair. Add a chair to the next Amazon shopping list.
New mic. They're not even that expensive.
They're not
so
even.
It's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah. Yeah. So it's really exciting. We've been doing this for a month. And it's National Custodial Recognition Day today. So that's
cute.
very exciting. So we want to give a little shout out to all the custodial workers out there. I mean, we kind of work within an educational realm. And so I feel like it goes hand in hand. Yeah, so shout out to them. Do you have anything?
I used to love my custodians in high school. Every time that I would be like late to class and they would see me, we would just have a conversation. And it's like, I think they were the saddest goodbye I had in high school. Like, because
that's so
I feel like
cute.
they know you more than
yeah.
your teachers because they see you for 4 years. Like, your teachers just see you for like 1 semester or whatever.
No,
but
that's
they
true.
see you for your entire like high school career. I think that one was like a stab in the heart to say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
But I hope they're still there.
No, I think that's like super cute. I also think that it's just really important to have this day. I mean, we work with students all the time. We've been talking about college a lot. Like, I think it's really important to kind of commend and recognize the workers that sometimes you don't even see because they're behind the scenes or you're friends with, but they do a lot of the hard work. Remember, first week of college, you should pick up after yourself.
Yeah, don't be dirty.
Yeah, don't be messy. Like, remember that the messes that you leave behind in common spaces have to be cleaned up by someone.
Yep.
And make sure that you're respectful. Thank them. The jobs that they do are really important. They make your study areas everywhere you're going clean and like fun to be around. So yeah, definitely be nice.
Say thank you on October 1st, but also every day that you see them.
Yeah, they deserve recognition every day. Honestly, every day is
Exactly
their recognition day.
Exactly.
So yeah, so now we can kind of get started. So we've been talking a lot about kind of first weeks of college. I'm pretty sure about 2 weeks ago we were talking about the first week of college, and then you guys kind of talked a little bit more about college advice last week. And so now that it's almost been like what a lot of people are going to be like 2 months. I mean, I don't know, when do people start college?
In quarter system, this would be like midterms.
Yeah, so we're kind of in the thick of it right now, and we kind of just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more now that you're in school, whether it's high school or college, to be honest, but a little bit more with college, I would say. We kind of want to talk a little bit more about like how school prepares you for life later on in life, kind of big decisions that people are making, whether you're first year to your last year of college. Like, I feel like there's kind of small decisions and steps that you're kind of making always. So
do you feel like you left college and you were like, ugh, I'm so happy that I have this little snippet in my pocket? Or like, what do you think you took out that you use in your everyday life?
Yeah, I hate to be that person who's like, now that I have left, I can give you like all of the wisdom. But I do think that it's really important. We've been focusing a lot, I feel like, talking to first year students kind of about advice. But I also do think that it's very important to say like, this is also some people's like last year of college and just kind of preparing. I think I initially was very excited to kind of leave college. I think college prepared me for a lot of stuff. I very much look back on college fondly, but I do think it's a huge transition that I was not prepared for.
Right.
I don't know why. Like, I feel like people tell you that all the time, but until you, gosh, I'm that person who's like, you don't know until you experience.
No, I think it's because you had so much consistency for like college and high school. Like, you knew what you were going to do every single day. You knew where you were going to go. And so leaving like that set schedule and going into the real world, it's like, oops. Because, when you graduate high school, people are like, oh, now you're going to the real world. No. Lies.
Yeah. College
is still like, it's just another high school, but just larger and with, people that you don't really know that well.
Or more specific, specific classes. But I completely agree with you. I feel like academics in itself protect you from a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're working full-time in school, like I know that obviously a lot of people have different experiences. Some people don't have to work. Some people focus more on classes and clubs, and other people have to work full-time. And so like definitely it depends on your situation. But I still do think, having talked to a lot of my friends who have kind of done multiple routes, it's still a barrier of like real life. I think you're completely right. Having a set schedule and knowing where you're going every day, and then kind of just being like thrown into the world and just trying to figure everything out. I also feel like with college, like, I don't know, I feel like especially the way that kind of academia works, I feel like it just doesn't really like set you up for like the luck in life, like the portions of stuff that like just because if you work hard doesn't always mean that you're going to like 100%. Get what you want.
Yeah, this world is difficult.
Yeah,
and I
difficult.
think like as it's not all about luck, but definitely like that, you know, you have to take yourself out of the equation and realize you're doing everything that you can and you're doing your best. But like you might not get that job because there might be someone else, or you might not get that internship, or, you know, maybe this path isn't what you expected, or whatever the case may be. I think honestly, one thing that I can really say that college prepared me for is the unexpected.
That's true.
I think going into the actual real world after college and being like, oops, this is way harder than I thought, but I'm okay because I know that I'm doing my best. I got good grades in college. I got good grade. I, you know, have a good GPA. I think that I know where I'm going and I'm doing everything that I can to get to where I want to be. But if in that path, sometimes I get, you know, I have to step back a little bit or I trip, whatever that is, it's like, I think college prepared me to be able to look at it and say, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still going, I'm still moving.
Yeah, I also feel like, I mean, the one thing that I like will say is like, while it was a big transition, if I then look back on like, what if I had just started right out of high school, I think that would have been even a larger transition, just because I think like, even if it's not college, if it's trade school or going another route or going to cosmetology school, anything like that, I feel like it does give you a little bit, or even just working a job and trying to find yourself, those types of buffers really help you kind of figure out what you want. Don't be scared though. You don't need to know everything that you want. I do think though, like kind of what you were saying is like college did give me the time to figure out like my own skills, to have confidence in myself. I do think that sometimes when I look back, like I don't know exactly what it would be, but I do think the fact that, especially with academia, like it is so set within grades and so set within like, if you do this, this result will happen. And like, again, yeah, life is not all about luck, but I do think that it also is just important to know that like, sometimes in life you're going to work hard and it might not be exactly the result that you wanted. Or like I think the biggest thing that I would say is like the biggest transition is like jobs.
Yeah.
I would say that entering this job field right now, college did not prepare me as much as I had hoped, or like maybe I came out of college a little bit more bright-eyed, but truly like it is a process. So like if you are someone who's starting to look for jobs, especially in like the second semester before you leave for college when you're graduating, or you're looking after the summer, like don't be as hard on yourself as you think that you should be, because like truly it is something that can take a while. And there's so many amazing people out there, which is awesome. Like there's so many amazing people. You meet a lot of amazing people in college who are also looking for jobs. Like there's just so many people out there that I think it's really important to not feel like you're failing. Because I think that sometimes truly it's not you. It's not the effort you put into it. It's just the game. Like I don't even,
it is a game. I want to say, like, I hate to say that because it's kind of cringy, but like it is a game and we're all players. But you know, going off of that, when you do get a job, and I hope that is the case for everybody, even in your job, it's not always like sunshine and rainbows. Like you do fail at your job sometimes, and you have to like, you know, constructive criticism is a thing, and it's like those are topics that aren't really talked about as much when you're going into the workforce. Because you think like, oh, this is my job and I know I'm good at this. This is why they hired me. Sometimes you do fail, and that's not like you're going to get fired, but you know, you do have setbacks, and that's something also college really does teach you.
No, definitely.
Or you kind of teach yourself. But I think
Well,
Either
also,
or.
yeah. Also, just like genuinely, like almost everything that you do in the workforce, like this, I feel like this is gonna make some people mad because some people hate this, but like genuinely, life is like a group project. Like you're
sure.
not really gonna have a moment where genuinely everything depends on you, and if you just put in the work, this is what will happen, or if you have control over it, this would what will happen. Because even if you're doing like even if you have a specific project in your job that is just you, like you are relying on other people. Like even maybe if it's not in your company, like you're relying for people to come or like there's just like a lot of different stuff. And so I think it's really important to just realize that life is truly like a group project. And so not everything is always going to be in your control. I think that that's probably like one of the biggest things that maybe life didn't. I'm not very good with change. I'm also very much like I like to have things in my control. I like to be able to be like the person that like I know that as long as I have like myself that it's going to work out. And I do still believe that. I just think I believe it more like not as like that doesn't mean that everything's going to work out. It's more like in life it will work out if I have myself. But on like job stuff and everything, I just feel like it's really important to realize that like not everything is in your hands.
100%.
But that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't like work hard and like you should just be really excited to like enter this new chapter. Yeah, so I think that it's really important to kind of look at it from a perspective where it's kind of a little bit of a give and take. Like I feel like college prepared us for a lot of stuff. You kind of touched on it. It made you more sure in yourself. I also think that if you do go into a major that you want to continue on, it's fine if you don't, by the way. It's okay to change your mind.
Yeah,
Don't be stressed.
I feel like college prepared us for a lot of things, but I want to know, like, what do you wish it prepared you for more? If at all.
If at all. I mean, I think something that I was lucky with is within my college life, I was able to also kind of go into a career while I was still in college.
Oh, yeah.
Like I did work either part-time or full-time. Like I worked full-time my last year. And then before that, I was like within my school newspaper. And so I do feel like it kind of introduced me to a professional setting. And I think I learned a lot emotionally kind of working with people, especially in a newspaper, and like kind of trying to figure out what is needed once I leave college to like create good professional relationships. However, if you're like not in that scenario, I do think that that's something that maybe college could prepare people a little bit more on. Just kind of like navigating relationships within jobs, I think is really important. I mean, in school, you're kind of, you're working with your classmates, but you're also working with your peers. And so I do think it's just a little bit of a different dynamic. Like, I feel like we're all pretty close in this office and like we're all around the same age. But like before I even started working here, like it was definitely kind of, I had yet to navigate kind of those professional relationships and also professional conflict. I don't know how college would prepare you for that. Like,
So
I don't know.
I'm
but
gonna touch on that.
Okay.
My college, my major was kind of small. So our senior years, like our last quarter, we each got a internship, and it was like kind of like a practicum. So we got to go into the field of like our choice. And so like some of my friends got to intern for a whole quarter at at Rady's or at a physical therapy office. I did it at a retirement community, and so I was working with like their like office side and whatnot. It really so we were working for free, but we were working for free for the whole quarter. I think graduating, I was a little bit more comfortable with the workforce because it's like, wait, I was working with literally like everyone that wasn't a student. So I had the best of both worlds. I know that's kind of hard to do with like obviously bigger campuses, bigger majors, more capped majors. But I think having the option of like a practicum is super important, even if it's something that you kind of like have to like apply for, whatever the case may be. I know it can get a little bit competitive at bigger schools, but things like that I feel like should be way more normalized in college campuses because they do prepare you for having to work with adults outside of like your peers. I loved it. I actually stayed working at my internship way after college. I graduated in July and I ended my internship, or I started in January and I ended my internship in October.
Yeah, so you were able to kind of continue.
So I continued. They offered me a job, but I was like, I feel like I've learned everything that I've learned from this, so I didn't want to. But now I'm here.
Yeah. No, so I think definitely like something that I don't know if we would be able to find in college, but just explore other options in college, internships, if your university offers something like that, university jobs, stuff like that, just to put yourself a little bit more in the workforce so you kind of don't just come out of college with no experience. I do think is a kind of a good piece of advice that I would say.
Sure. It just helps you be a better like communicator at the end of the day.
Yeah. So definitely very exciting. We're really excited for all those people who they're starting their last year of college. That's so exciting. Hopefully this helped a little bit. You've got this. Definitely college didn't prepare us for everything, but what's also really fun to talk about is how to be prepared for college. So now we're kind of doing the flip side of the coin. So we were kind of talking a little bit more about like end of college. We're now going to come back to our first years, maybe share a little bit of stories, because now you're about like a month in, so you might start to be seeing some things in college that you weren't expecting. You're starting to figure out roommate dynamics. You're kind of trying to find yourself, figure out how you want to make friends, appear to people, like everything. I feel like it's a huge change. Like it truly is, especially if you go to a college where like no one knows you. Like
or
you
like
kind
you
of
had to leave home.
Yeah, or if you had to leave home. So yeah, we're going to start with a couple of stories. This is going to be a little bit different than our other Reddit stories. We're doing a little bit more kind of just fun ideas that people have had in college, different kind of experiences, and go a little bit more on the advice side than like giving our opinions on a topic, if that makes sense.
Our opinions are great, but sometimes you want to hear them. Unfortunately.
We're going to start off with one that I would say is like a little bit, I think that a lot of students are possibly going to relate or be like, no, this is not me at all. Like, I feel like it's truly kind of like you either totally relate with this or you're like, no, I actually love this. And I think it's really important because this is something that's very new. I feel like this is a dynamic of college that you just don't experience in high school. So high school is not going to prepare you for this.
Oh, yeah.
So you kind of are going to college
blind.
Yeah. So this was 9 months ago. We found a really cool Reddit page, just Reddit/college. So we're trying to get a little bit more educational in this Reddit. That's so stupid.
So cringy. Ew.
I know. Okay, so this is I hate living in a dorm.
Oh, okay.
Dot.
I already know where this is going. Nothing good comes out of dorms.
Okay, so you're on the side of like, yep, understand that.
I mean, I never was a dormie.
We need if
that's the term.
Everyone, it's gonna cut to Maria disappears, add in a new person.
Yeah,
because she can't help it.
I can't contribute to this. I lived at home. I've never been in a dorm, but I'm gonna put myself in the position.
What if we just plopped in Cassidy and
like
you just disappeared and went. Just kidding. I think actually you're gonna have a nice perspective because honestly, since you haven't done it, you might be kind of like the first years who have also like never done it, coming in blind. Okay. So I'm a freshman right now and I live in a traditional dorm. While I'm lucky enough to have a single. Okay.
Already.
I'm sorry, but that's like a really exciting thing to have. So I don't know why I hate it. But anyways, it remains that dorm life feels awful. My dorm room isn't particularly bad or anything, but no matter what I do, it just doesn't feel like home. A common answer when I looked up this was just to decorate and stuff, and even when I do that, I still hate it. Even among posters and lights and rugs, it still feels very, very bare bones room. Sorry.
Continue.
This is not me bad at reading. They just really did not grammar. They didn't type this well.
Correct.
Part of it is definitely that it doesn't feel like there's a clear separation between school and living. Like even after all my stuff is done, I still live at college, which means it's hard to really feel like I get a break. Also, the dorms, at least in my uni, are all quite loud and filled with hordes of partying freshmen. It legitimately feels like I'm living in a zoo with how hectic it is, and compared to off-campus apartments/housings that I've visited, it's way more severe in a dorm. I also don't really have the ability to cook my own food or even store food that's not candy or bags of chips. There is a dining hall, obviously, but it doesn't really feel the same. This is obviously a very trivial complaint, but I have but I like having control over what I eat and the ability to actually cook and eat healthy meals. I'm lucky enough that next year I'll be living off campus in an apartment of my own, and I'll be able to have a far more normal life. And next semester, there's a chance I'll be able to get a nicer, quieter dorm as well. But in the meantime, does anyone have any advice on coping with a situation that just doesn't feel like it's like home or natural at all?
I think like if I were to give them advice, not coming from a perspective of ever having a dorm, but like, and piece of advice that I could give is probably just, you know, posting pictures from your like family, your friends, or what are those things like? Well, he's in a single, so I was gonna say like getting like those dividers to kind of, but no. What else? That's hard. I think that's a dilemma that a lot of people do face, because it's like there's this thing where I've heard, you know, if you have a desk or if you study on your bed, then it like makes it harder to sleep.
Oh yeah.
So this can be the same. Like it is difficult to feel comfortable in your place of like, you know, leisure.
Yeah.
But it's also your school at the same time. That is something difficult, and I think that's just like an adjustment that you kind of have to jump over. But I think it just takes time. I think something like that is, if the decorations aren't working, in my opinion, it's probably just time.
Yeah. I think something that I do find a little bit interesting is they are very lucky to have a single.
For sure.
And so some of the comments were kind of just at least to fix the cooking aspect, to get that out of the way. A lot of people were saying that you could get like basically like a hot plate or a crock pot, a small mini fridge. Obviously, like that does cost money and can be a little bit of a significant investment, but at least that might cover the feeling of like being able to have control over what you eat. I know that's like a big thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people did not like my college campus's food as much. But I will say that the one thing that I wonder if there's things like this for other schools, but my school at least, our dorms were like very different vibes, if that makes sense. So basically, like we had a dorm that if you moved into that dorm, it means that you wanted a louder dorm.
Oh.
The dorm that I moved into was very quiet. So what I had decided, because I actually also, like, I'm a little bit weird. I loved living in dorms. I said my freshman year that I could do it my entire life. Like, I actually very much enjoyed it. Like, I like the college campus feel.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed the fact that I could walk 5 feet away and my friend was there. Or, like, I only had to, like, walk, like, right next to the other dorm. But something that I did, because I kind of knew, I would say that I'm introverted and extroverted. So what I did is I chose a more introverted dorm because I knew that when I went back to my room, I would want that space and time. And then if I wanted to go into kind of the crazy hectic dorm, then I could just go there. But then I could leave.
Wait,
and I was
cool.
gone.
I think that's honestly not a lot of schools, because I know in my school it's like your dorm is dependent on what college you pick, because we have like 8 colleges, and so it's like whatever you kind of, you get to pick and rank them, but it's like not always guaranteed.
Interesting.
So like you could pick the nicest college, but then you could get stuck in the oldest one, and it's like the oldest dorm.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. So maybe it was just like I did go to a little bit of a smaller school. I also will say, like, this is not like it was like endorsed by the school, but it was almost like the students themselves created it. So like,
that's cool.
Yeah, I can like literally give names. So I lived in Lyman. Lyman was considered the quieter dorm. It was literally adjacent, like right next to the louder dorm called Jewett. So if students asked for Jewett, it was because they kind of wanted to be in a little bit more of a hectic environment. If they asked for Lyman, they wanted it a little bit quieter. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, Jewett's 2 feet away. Why don't I at least choose the quieter dorm so when I want my space, I can have it? And so I genuinely think that they would have a little bit better of a time if they could find a living area that more matches their needs.
For sure.
So definitely I would look into the college. Like, obviously it does depend. I think if you go to larger universities, it's more set up the way yours was. But if you're going to a smaller school, definitely when you're touring, ask about dorm life and ask specifically if the dorms themselves have a difference. Yeah. Because they might. And then you can request a dorm that's a little bit more on the chill side and not as crazy. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I did it. Not everyone does it that way. Also, like, if you're just introverted, like, obviously, like, Lyman is also, like, would have been a really great place for you. And so I think definitely just asking a little bit more about the vibe. I hate using the vibe. I hate that. Yeah, I hate that word. But, like, I mean more like actually, like, the culture
The
and
culture.
environment.
Yeah, because the culture is important, because
Yeah.
that's something that you have to deal with for like a year or however long you're staying in that environment. So if you're uncomfortable, that's going to affect other areas of your life, like your studies and your your
Yeah,
other
exactly.
social lives and whatever. So it's ask questions before you sign anything.
Yeah. And then also like try to get out more and stuff like that. Like if you can also find seclusion in outdoor areas, like if truly this person feels like they're just in college all the time, go somewhere else. Go to a movie. Like try to visit home if you can. If you can't, obviously that does kind of affect things. But I do think that you can find home in kind of like unforeseen places.
Yeah.
If it's not your dorm, it could be somewhere on campus that's like the best place to study.
Yeah. One of my friends, she went away for college, and she said that she had this like coffee shop that reminded her of home, and so she would always go there when she was like feeling either like down or she just wanted to get away from her campus. And I was like, oh, that's such a cute idea. I feel like that's something that more people should try.
So yeah, I feel like that's some pretty good advice.
Yeah, I think so.
It also like, I will say this feels like a little bit of a tamer one. Like this seems like something that you can kind of find, like because some people have to experience like really bad roommates and like more difficult living situations. But I think that because this one was a little bit more tame, I think more, and more people can probably relate to it because it's not crazy.
It's not crazy. I was honestly expecting like my dorm mate is a mess and whatever, because I feel like that's a story that I hear all the time.
Yeah, so I feel like that one was a little bit more mundane. I think we're also starting to see that like it is important to kind of stay true to yourself. Like this person, the culture in their dorm is not what they wanted, and so they do really want to kind of find a place that's better for them. I do feel bad that they kind of have to struggle through this for a couple of months, but it seems like they're figuring out what they want in college, which I think is really important. I also feel like we're kind of going to transition into a couple of topics that I just saw. There's so many Reddit posts about college and kind of like reinventing yourself and finding yourself in college. Some common themes that I've kind of been seeing is like college is kind of a place where you can, it's almost like no one knows you, or like you're kind of transitioning from high school and maybe you want to like introduce yourself in different ways. Like I've seen ones where people have changed their names, kind of changed their like clothing and so we can't read all of the stories, but I do think that was a common theme that I saw.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm just like curious, do you feel like you reinvented yourself in college at all? Do you feel like you kind of stayed the same?
I think I stayed the same, but I had a friend one time, we were just walking and into the library, and she was like, I feel like it'd be fun if I like just changed my accent if anyone spoke to me. And so we were waiting. We have a coffee shop in our library, and we were waiting in the line, and some guy asked her like, hey, have you like what do you usually order from here? So I guess he was like a first year or something. And I don't know what possessed her to do this, but she spoke in a British accent, as one does. Oh my God. And then it was like a 2-minute, not even like a 30-second conversation. We ordered our drinks, we went and sat down. That guy then came back, or not came back, but like he saw us where we were sitting, and so he like approached my friend again, and she kept the bit going. And I was like, oh, we're doing this now. Okay, cool. And I felt so uncomfortable. So I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then I come back and he's still there. And I'm like, how are you going to keep this going? Like, what if he's in our next lecture or whatever? Like, how are you going to keep this up? He left. And so I asked her, I was like, why did you do that? And she was like, I don't know. I just want to have fun. Like, no one knows me here. This is the biggest campus on earth. Like, I went to UCSD, if you don't know. Our campus is ginormous. They accept like 2,000 kids every year. And so she was like, yeah, like he's never going to see me again. I'm like, you don't know that, but okay. So that's not my story, but I'm going to share it anyway because I thought it was so funny.
That honestly, first of all, sounds like the start to a rom-com.
No, nothing
of
happened.
Like then she has to keep it up for months, and then at some point, right towards the end, she finally has to tell him that she's just been lying to him.
And I need to talk to her again and see if he ever like was in her lectures, because you would think that a giant school is really small, but I see people all the time that I see on a consistent basis. So I'm like, you're bold.
Yeah.
You're bold for that.
So maybe not as drastic as that. However, I do think that the idea of why she did it is really important because it is like no one knows you and you're young, you're still trying to find yourself. And so I do think the idea of using college to kind of reinvent yourself, I don't know if I really like the reinvent because in my opinion, it's actually like taking the time to find who you really are. I think that high school can sometimes put people in boxes or put them in a certain kind of like, especially if you didn't really like high school, then maybe you become introverted when actually you're extroverted, or you were extroverted in high school, but like now, like I think that it's more, instead of like reinventing yourself, it's more just like finding who you are.
Yourself.
I'm trying to think if I did anything. I think like the only thing that I can think of, which is just, I started dressing a little bit different my first year of college. There was definitely like I went to the, like, it's called the PMW. Like I went to school in Washington. There's definitely like a Washington aesthetic that I tried to embody. I started wearing a lot of flannel. I love flannel. Not on a daily basis though.
No.
That's like just not who I am.
Did you invest in flannel?
I never wore a vest in flannel. No,
did you invest
in flannel?
How did you have one?
I thought you meant like the vest flannel, the man in like the commercials with the golden retriever and he's camping and it's like
why do you know this?
It's the after hours finance man. It's the finance man who goes into the woods to find himself. He wears the vest and the flannel.
I have no idea.
I kind of did invest in flannel. I went to a bunch of like kind of thrift stores around my area with the friends that I had just met. And there might have also been a little bit of a guy involved, and I definitely just started dressing in the vibe of my friend group.
Yeah.
I felt like that was just like an example that I can think of where if that's truly what my style was, I think that would have been great, but it definitely was more just like a fitting in thing. And so I would say don't do that.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely not as important in life. Like I do think it's important to stay true to yourself while also like experiencing new things, because you're totally right. Like no one knows you.
No one knows you. But also like, you know, don't lie. Like my friend was a little much. Like don't lie.
Don't lie. Yeah.
Wearing a flannel and faking a British accent are two very different things. What
do you think about the idea? Because there was a specific Reddit story where like the person changed their name.
Like all 4 years?
I think so. I think they were like, college is a moment where I can like, they just never really liked their name. They didn't think it really fit with their personality and like their lived experience and like all this stuff. Like I think that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, I have nothing against that, but I feel like that's just like a hard like gig to kind of keep going.
Well, it would be definitely hard. I mean, I don't know about you, but my school did allow people to like go by their nickname. So like you could change it like in your thing, that if you didn't want a teacher to refer to you in a name that you don't really go by, you could just like change it. Because I do think it'd be hard in class to keep it up. But I think if that's what you want to do, I think there's many ways to reinvent yourself.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You do you. I'm good with that.
You do you. Yeah. So we're going to end it on a little bit of a fun note. We've been talking a lot about the different experiences in college. I feel like a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, you can relate to.
Me.
You know?
Okay.
Or like people can relate to. However, we are going to end it on something that I would say not many people can relate to.
Why can I relate?
Oh, no. I mean like what we've been talking about, you can relate to.
Never mind.
Okay, we're gonna start over.
I get it. They'll just cut that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So I feel like we've been talking about a lot of stuff that you can relate to, a little bit more mundane, kind of just everything that people kind of deal with. People deal with not really liking their dorms or trying to find themselves in college. This, I don't think many people can relate to. So we're just gonna end it on a fun note.
Okay.
I just want to see your. So the strangest thing happened. My roommate moved in today. Seemed like a nice enough guy, if a bit introverted. We didn't talk much in the dorm, but walked to an event together. He said he was returning to the room to grab his ID, and I thought nothing of it. When I got back, all of his things were gone except for a fridge, microwave, and office chair he brought. I'm just really confused and no one in the dorm can give me a clear answer. If this has happened to anyone, I'd like a piece of advice or something.
Is that it? Oh no. Is he okay? Okay, we're ending the podcast on a mystery. If you find this man, he's missing his mini fridge.
Yeah, this was 22
really
hours.
expensive.
This was 22 hours ago.
Oh.
So we could actually get to the bottom of this.
Honestly, next episode, Everyone, leave your comments below. What happened to Mystery Man? We must.
Can you find it?
Can you find him?
The sleuths.
Was he a real student?
Yeah.
He probably wasn't.
Crazy. I also feel like this poor man is like, did I do something on this walk? Like, they've literally met each other for like 20 minutes. No. And his roommate just said, I'm out.
That's so sad. He sees him the next
poor
day.
Guy is like, is there something wrong with me? Like,
no, there's nothing ever wrong with you.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys just didn't clash well, but
yeah,
you never know.
So this does go to show, if you don't like your living arrangement, it turns out you can change it pretty quickly.
Just drop like that.
You can just disappear.
It's as easy as it sounds.
I will say, though, I do think it's funny that he kind of took everything, but I would consider the most expensive things in
like
his store.
Like a mini fridge? Take the mini fridge.
So we are a little bit worried for this man.
If you take anything from this podcast, if you ever have a mini fridge, take that with you. That's very expensive.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Next week we will have an update on the Mystery Man.
On Mystery Man. We're
gonna try to find it. We're all gonna call out sick tomorrow. Look for this guy. But thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that at least one of these stories you related to. I really hope it wasn't the last one.
Right.
But yeah, I'm Scout.
And I'm Maria.
And we're just doing our best.
Bye.
Bye.